So my name is Barrie, and I'm a certified inner peace instructor through the Middle Way Meditation Institute, and it continues to be my profound pleasure and privilege to be training with Monk Buren. It's been a wonderful experience. So we're going to continue today's program with a seated inner peace meditation, and let's get started, sharing some relaxing time together. And as the sound is fading, or because of Zoom, it sort of cuts off quickly, we may be aware that we're arriving in a bit of a transitioning from movement of the body to a seated meditation. Thanks to Sonia, we've prepared our bodies for meditation. And now we'll continue to relax and calm our bodies for a little while. So let's start by easily finding a comfortable sitting position. Not too relaxed, or we'll be slumping. Not too rigid, right? Too upright and we become rigid. So we're trying to find that in-between place. I think John Kabat-Zinn refers to it as erect and dignified position, which has always spoken to me. So we're going to gently adjust our position. You may wish to do a little gentle rocking left and right, front and back, until we feel our weight centered on the chair or cushion. And if you're seated in a chair, I invite you to bring your awareness to the bottoms of your feet, just feeling them on the floor. If you're on a cushion or a bench, you may notice where your feet and legs are in contact with the cushion or the bench or the floor. And just noticing these contact points and noticing what it feels like to receive the support of the floor underneath us. And let's bring our attention to our hands. We allow them to rest gently wherever they would like to be. If we notice effort in the hands, if we notice ourselves pushing down, we'll see if we can relax, just let go. This is gentle contact. Bring our awareness to our shoulders, soften them, relax them. This is a gentle self-care practice. And bringing our awareness to the mouth and jaw area, softening and relaxing there as well. Some of us have a tendency to clench our teeth and jaws. We're going to bring some spaciousness and relaxation into the mouth and jaw area, allowing the tongue to float wherever it would like to go. Perhaps even parting the lips ever so slightly to allow the exhales to release there. And as we relax the body, we relax the mind. We prepare ourselves for calmness and peace through this gentle relaxation. And if you haven't already done so, and it feels relaxing and right for you, this would be a good time to close your eyes. We do this gently, just allowing them to close. And if you prefer to keep your eyes open, just let your gaze be soft and slightly downward. You're invited to take a deep breath if that feels good. Breathing in deeply and out slowly. In and out. We breathe in peace and relaxation. We breathe out concerns and worries and tension. In and out. In and out. And then we return to a natural breath. Just a calm, natural breath. If we notice effort in the breath, seeing if we can let that go. Gentle and peaceful, without judgment. And let's bring our awareness to the very tippy top of the head, the center of the crown. And imagine relaxing energy flowing down from the top of the head. Relaxing and softening muscles on the forehead, the brow, the eye sockets. Relaxation flowing on the face, the ears, the neck, and the shoulders. Relaxing the upper arms, past the elbows to the lower arms, past the wrists. Relaxation moves into the hands, into the very tips of the fingers. We relax the chest, the upper back, the lower back, and the abdomen. We notice relaxation in the waist area, the hips and bottom, the upper legs, past the knees to the lower legs, and past the ankles to the feet and the very tips of the toes. Noticing relaxing energy bathing the whole body with a feeling of calm, peacefulness, gentleness, and self-care. Now we gently bring our awareness to rest at the center of the body, around the stomach area. You rest the awareness there very gently. It's with the same gentleness when a feather falls lightly onto the surface of water. As gently as a butterfly sits on a flower petal, moving softly with the flower when the breeze comes. And as we deepen the stillness of the body, we deepen the stillness of the mind. And the mind and our awareness settle down into the center. this special space in the center of the body. At this place, we find calm, a peaceful feeling. And if we're feeling that peaceful feeling, we may notice it rippling out to the rest of our bodies and past our bodies into the rooms we're in, the apartments and houses, and beyond into our communities, and continuing out beyond. If thoughts come in, we let them pass like birds. We don't engage with them. We don't feed them. Just letting them pass. And we observe them passing. We do this without judgment. No one's done anything wrong. They come and they go. If the mind is very active today, you're invited to try using a visualization, something bright in the center, the sun, the moon, perhaps the stars, and gently rest your awareness on it. If there are still many thoughts, you're invited to see if resting your awareness on the mantra would be helpful. Sama Arahang, Sama Arahang, Sama Arahang. We maintain this calm, gentle feeling with acceptance, non-judgment, and self-care. Resting our awareness on the center. Gently resting in this peaceful space. And we'll continue in silence for a little while, enjoying this peaceful, gentle time. If you wish, you can share this peaceful, calm, relaxed feeling with friendliness and loving kindness for all beings. May all beings be happy. May all beings be healthy. May all beings be safe. And may all beings live with ease. Okay, so I'm going to start our presentation, and I'm going to, as elegantly as possible, share my screen with you. Oh, I don't know if you know the expression, don't let them see you make the sausage. That's what I feel like I'm doing when I do this. Oh, I want it to be magic, and it's not, but what can you do? Okay. Could you give me a thumbs up if you can see a slide on and you can hear my voice? That's a wonderful combination. So today's topic is consistent tactfulness. This is the 5th part in a 6-part series on the topic of emotional wisdom. I'd like to start with something I really appreciate, which is the middle way approach to the teachings. The middle way approach to addressing a topic such as consistent tactfulness is to consult and bring together ancient wisdom and evidence-based science, and then follow through to action by suggesting simple practices and tying the teaching to inspiring examples. So we begin with the ancient teachings. The Buddha said, "Bhikkhu, there are 4 means of sustaining a favorable relationship. What 4? Giving, endearing speech, helpfulness, and consistent tactfulness. These are 4 means of sustaining favorable relationship." Now notice, the Buddha did not say, these 4 means will make you a better person, bring you health, wealth, fame. He specifically says they are the means of sustaining a favorable relationship. And to me, this is poignant because when all is said and done, it is relationship which is the key to a satisfying life. I would argue that relationship with oneself is just as important as relationship with others. In fact, it's foundational. Just last week, Monk Buren taught that we need to start with ourselves when practicing helpfulness. We can start with the self for all of these means of sustaining a favorable relationship. It's even more moving and crucial that we care for ourselves at this time and care for our relationships. For most of us, the challenge is distance from loved ones. Some of us, however, would welcome some distance, feeling like we're on top of each other, sharing small spaces, even sharing large spaces with other people can be a challenge. And some of us struggle with our relationships with ourselves at times like this. As John Kabat-Zinn put it, wherever you go, there you are. And when we can't go anywhere, we really are right there all the time, and there's no avoiding it. So it seems like a good time to talk about nourishing and cultivating these relationships. Looking to modern science, we were introduced by Monk Buren last month to the theory of emotional intelligence, also known as EQ. This was developed in the 1960s, but popularized by Dan Goleman in the 1990s. Monkboran explained that emotional wisdom is a way of framing the Buddha's teachings in response to the concept of emotional intelligence theory. Dan Goleman identified 4 factors which make up an individual's emotional intelligence: self-awareness, self-management, empathy, and social skill. The idea is that these could be developed and be more meaningful predictors of life success than IQ or other measures. And in 1998, when I was in graduate school, I attended a lecture, and it was about a study which had recently ranked Fortune 500 CEOs by emotional intelligence and IQ. They found a dramatically greater correlation between high EQ, emotional intelligence, and successful leadership than between high IQ and successful leadership. And we know that the key to successful leadership is relationship. The Buddha's teachings suggest 4 bases of empathy: giving, endearing speech, helpfulness, and consistent tactfulness. So today we're going to focus on the 4th, consistent tactfulness. Since Monk Boren's introductory talk on emotional wisdom last month, we've explored giving, endearing speech, and helpfulness each week. To put the point more functionally, in order to guarantee your EQ growth, your emotional wisdom growth, you need to practice giving, endearing speech, and helpfulness consistently and tactfully. And sticking with the functional and practical, why is consistent tactfulness so critical to developing your emotional wisdom and building good relationships? This question points to something Monk Boren reminded us about recently. The aim here is not just an academic understanding, in this case, an academic understanding of consistent tactfulness. We want to move beyond that toward practical application and action so that we can live an inner peace lifestyle. So let's consider consistent tactfulness as an embodied practice rather than a theoretical concept. And while we're discussing it, we might even notice in our bodies subtle shifts that are happening as examples come up and as ideas come up. It's all good information. And since everybody wants a good life and good relationships, let's consider why consistency and tactfulness are so important. So while I was mulling this question over, I kept getting stuck on this seeming contradiction, which actually turned into a challenge the more I thought about it. We are pondering a teaching from the Buddha about consistency when he taught that impermanence is one of the 3 marks of existence. It felt a little strange to me, but this is where I landed. That due to the truth of impermanence of all phenomenon, intention and practice are required if we wish to be consistent in our skillfulness of thought and action. Through intention and practice, we nourish a tendency toward a quality of consistent tactfulness in a constantly changing inner and outer world. To put it another way, this is why it's hard. So let's look at consistency first. When we bring to mind a person who has been a good friend to us, or has been a valued teacher, a mentor, or a leader, chances are that person displays consistency. If we take a moment to feel what consistency feels like in the body, the types of feelings that arise may be around safety, reliability. In a word, we trust the person. And when we don't trust, we find true connection to be difficult. Trust is key to connection, and connection is key to friendship and relationship. Idris Shah, the Sufi author, put it pretty bluntly. You need not wonder whether you should have an unreliable person as a friend. An unreliable person is nobody's friend. I sort of want to say ouch afterwards, but there it is. Because consistent tactfulness is considered to be the big brother or leader of the other three bases of compassion, it seems it might be useful to consider consistency in relation to the other three. I'll just give an example for each of the three bases. For example, when it comes to forgiveness, we can strive to be consistent. Often we bring conditionality to the practice of forgiveness. There are certain acts which are forgivable and some which are not. We often draw a line between the two and defend it passionately if somebody challenges it. We draw other lines too. We may forgive or not forgive depending on who has transgressed. How many of us catch ourselves holding on to fury toward a family member, but easily forgiving another who has acted the exact same way? It's not that these distinctions are without reason. This isn't about dismissing, but it's just about a practice of noticing. Noticing when there's a lack of consistency and sitting with that. We might find that some of those lines start to move, some of them start to widen a little bit and become a little more permeable. But it's really in the quiet and in the stillness that we can start to look at those things. When speaking, we can strive for consistency as well. Each of the qualities of endearing speech, easily remembered now thanks to Vera's acronym THINK, can be displayed consistently or not. We've probably had moments when, while we're trying to speak in goodwill consistently, we succumb to the temptation to gossip or very subtly put someone else down to boost ourselves up. It happens. And when it comes to helpfulness, I'm reminded of the old question, do you want to be part of the problem or part of the solution? Some of us don't answer that question the same way in every situation. In one case, we might be very helpful, whereas in another, perhaps in matters of family conflict, we might subtly or not so subtly disrupt things. But all of these examples can result in reliability and trust or lack thereof. They can undermine connection and strong relationships, or they can support them and build them. The World Happiness Report is researched and published annually since 2012 by the United Nations. And if you often attend an MMI event or lecture, you may have heard of Jeffrey Sachs before. He's an associate of Monk Burin and is a Columbia University economist. And he's a key researcher on this annual document. So the UN recently, just last month, released the 2020 edition. And I was thrilled when I read it because it's a wonderful document, but also because it offers evidence-based scientific examples of the importance of trust in relation to happiness. Emotional environment is a big focus of the report this year. So let's look at a few of the findings that I pulled out of the report. First, six, sorry, I'm going to move something so I can read. 6 factors are used to explain happiness, and 4 of these measure different aspects of the social environment. Having someone to count on, having a sense of freedom to make key life decisions, generosity, and trust. And then another, looking at happiness in the Nordic countries, we find that higher personal and institutional trust are key factors in explaining why life evaluations are so high in those countries. Oh, sorry about that. And please keep in mind that these are scientifically validated conclusions. So the report continues saying, people are happier when they trust each other and their shared institutions and care about the welfare of others. Higher levels of social and institutional trust are especially important in raising happiness and reducing inequality. And finally, anything that can increase social and institutional trust produces especially large benefits for those subject to various forms of hardship. Those last 2 examples really illustrate the power of trust. The last one is suggesting that high institutional and social trust can actually start to lessen the negative effects of other hardships. Since trust is a key component of relationships, we can see how trust, relationship, and happiness are connected. Okay, let's now take a look at tactfulness. When we bring to mind that same person from before, who's been a good friend to us, or a valued teacher, mentor, or leader, chances are that person also displays tact. What is tact? Tactfulness is the quality of knowing what is called for in a given moment, keeping into consideration all of the different variables. If we take a moment to feel what being treated with tactfulness feels like in the body, what probably comes to us are feelings of being seen and heard, respected, and wisely cared for. In a word, we feel that the person is attuned. They're attuned to us and our needs, but it's in the context of the reality of the situation. And when we don't feel that another is attuned to us and reality, we may not feel happy, safe, and relaxed in that relationship. Tactfulness shows respect and garners respect. Isaac Newton put it concisely. Tact is the art of making a point without making an enemy. And this could be applied just as easily to a friendship or a family matter as to a global political one. Now let's consider tactfulness in relation to the other 3 bases of empathy. In the context of giving, for example, tact might be displayed when we're offering worldly knowledge. If a friend shares a problem with you and you immediately go into a lecture to her about your view of her problem and what she can do to fix it and do better, your message may not be that well received. This is because you may have skipped the tactful part, the part where you attune to her feelings, her needs, and her individual characteristics. This is closely related to tact when speaking in general. If we strive to practice each of the qualities of endearing speech, we will naturally be acting with tact. In particular, speech when speech which is necessary at this time will likely be tactful. We've all probably experienced the right message delivered at the wrong time, and we know that message will not be received well. And when it comes to helpfulness, the key step Monk Marin pointed out last week to be helpful is to be helpful not from the perspective of what we think we would want in another person's situation, but being attuned to the other's needs. This seems to be a particular risk when it comes to parents helping their kids. Does this sound familiar to you? You may have been on the child or the parent end in this scenario, maybe both at different times. The child is in distress. The parent thinks, if that happened to me when I was little, I'd want somebody to do or say this. And the parent helps in this way. Well, it could go well, but often it doesn't. The child may reject this type of help or not feel supported. Then the parent feels angry or sad or a combination of the two. All of this because the parent didn't know how to attune to the child at that moment. These types of things happen all the time in all sorts of relationships. All of these examples will result in a lack of feelings of being respected, cared for, and will therefore undermine connection and strong relationships. Tactful giving, tactful speech, and tactful helpfulness will build and support connection and strong relationships. So what do we do to develop our tact? Well, the answer is the same no matter what wholesome skills we wish to develop. Through balanced discipline, balanced meditation, and balanced wisdom, we can develop our tact or any other wholesome skills. And here are some tools for being consistently tactful. First, cultivate internal balance through daily meditation and stillness. This is key. If we're not balanced inside, it's going to be very difficult for us to act in a consistently tactful way with others. Then, working from the inside out, we notice others' needs by attuning to them. And once we feel we have a sense of that, we ask, how can I help? Now, sometimes this is an out loud question to somebody. How can I help? But sometimes it's an inside question. How can I help? Reflection is important as an ongoing part of this practice. We notice what's going on inside. Am I being true to my values? Am I acting from a place of wisdom and compassion? Again, the stillness of meditation and both closed eye and open eye meditation and mindfulness will be extremely helpful here. And it really needs to be a regular practice, because if we try to go through these steps without a regular practice, it's going to be really difficult. And finally, we're going to be kind to ourselves. Okay, we work in failure as an option. Sometimes things go wrong. We are kind to ourselves and acknowledge that nobody's perfect. In the spirit of being kind to ourselves, I'm going to share a video with you which blends two things we love: friendship and animals. Many people have made viral videos to go along with the Bruno Mars song about friendship, Count on Me. I hope you enjoy this one as much as I did.
If you ever find yourself stuck in the middle of the sea, I'll sail the world to find you. If you ever find yourself lost in the dark and you can't see, I'll be the light to guide you. Find out what we're made of, when we are called to help our friends in need. You can count on me like 1, 2, 3, I'll be there. And I know when I need it, I can count on you like 4, 3, 2, you'll be there. 'Cause that's what friends are supposed to do, oh yeah. Ooh, ooh, yeah, yeah. If you're tossing and you're turning and you just can't fall asleep, I'll sing a song beside you. And if you ever forget how much you really mean to me, every day I will remind you. Oh, find out what we're made of, when we are called to help our friends in need. You can count on me like 1, 2, 3, I'll be there. And I know when I need it, I can count on you like 4, 3, 2, you'll be there. 'Cause that's what friends are supposed to do, oh yeah. Ooh, ooh, yeah, yeah. You'll always have my shoulder when you cry. I'll never let go, never say goodbye. You can count on me like 1, 2, 3, I'll be there. And I know when I need it, I can count on you like 4, 3, 2, and you'll be there. 'Cause that's what friends are supposed to do, oh yeah. Ooh, ooh, you can count on me, 'cause I can count on you.